All right, all right. Hey, everybody. How you doing? It is Thursday. Happy Thursday to you. And today is... What is today? You should know what it is because I just told you what today is, but you're getting new with the podcast, and it is TV Talk Thursday. That's right. That's what it is. Got somebody in the building, and I think I know who it is, so I'm going to go over to the chat and see. Yep, exactly. Hey. Keep the faith with Tori. How are you doing? She left a little note in here for me because yesterday I was muted. She said, make sure you're not muted. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I got to let you guys know that Tori is checking in from Darlington, South Carolina. Yes, she is. Daytown, that's what they call it. And why don't you guys go ahead and tap in where you're from? Let me know where you're from. We're going to get into a conversation today. And I think it's a good conversation, at least to me and for me. I think it's a good conversation. We're going to talk about the TV series Harlem. Now, here's the thing. This won't be another episode where we're going to be breaking down or doing any type of spoilers, okay? We're not going to be doing that. This is really more of a discussion of what shows like this, because we've seen shows like this before. What shows like this bring up for us? What do they bring up? What do they offer to us for a conversation? So we're going to get into a discussion about how these shows invoke topics of conversation in sisterhood and with Black women friendship. All right? Yeah, so before we do that, I think we should do what we always do. You know what we do? We got to breathe first because it's lunchtime. It's my time, your time. It's my time, your time. We're going to reclaim our time. What we want to do is we want to make sure that before we get into that lunch, before we start eating or doing anything of that nature, I think it's important for us to kind of recenter ourselves. We've already had a morning. It could be a very good morning. And if it has been, and I hope that it has been, just take a moment to recenter and be able to continue to enjoy your day. If the day is not going in a way that you would like it to, well, this is the time right now for you to stop. This is the time right now for you to stop and take a breath, recenter, recalibrate. We're going to breathe, and then we'll have a little chat. All right? So how we do this thing? We inhale to a count of 4, and we hold that for a few seconds. And then we exhale, and we hold that for a few seconds. And then we repeat that a few times. I know y'all got it. So let's do it. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Hold that a few seconds. Inhale again. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Hold that a few seconds. Let's do it one more time. Inhale. And hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Yeah. Shake that off. Shake it off. Shake it off and feel good. Now let's get into our conversation for today. I was thinking about a TV show that maybe many of us have been watching. I'm not sure how many people have been watching it, but I know that you might be familiar with it. Harlem. You guys know anything about Harlem? You got to let me know in the chat if you're watching it, if you're not watching it. Got to let me know what you think about it, because this, I feel like what entertainment does is it allows us an opportunity to talk about things, to take certain situations a little bit further, right? And let's think about this. TV shows are entertainment. They're entertainment. TV shows are primarily created for entertainment purposes, and it's important for us to allow them to serve that purpose. While a lot of shows touch on important social issues and provide educational value, the primary goal is to offer viewers a form of escapism, give us something to enjoy, kind of take us out of that day-to-day, some of that hectic life, let us relax a little bit. It's important to remember that everyone has different tastes, different preferences when it comes to entertainment. And what I find enjoyable, some might not find enjoyable. Some might, others might not. But ultimately, it's up to each individual to decide what they find entertaining and worthwhile to watch. And sometimes we just need a laugh. There's nothing wrong with just taking a laugh. If I am watching a documentary, I'm really looking for it to be something that I can kind of say, yeah, this I can take serious. This is something that has an educational value, and I'm viewing it from a totally different place. But if it's a TV show, if it's a comedy, I definitely want to be able to enjoy it. And if I don't enjoy it, well, I just don't watch it. Keep the Faith with Tori says, I'm not watching it. I tried, but it didn't grab me. Okay, I got you. You tried. It didn't grab you. I'll ask you a few questions about that, like in a few seconds, because I feel like, me personally, I find it kind of funny. I find myself, when I watch it, I find myself laughing out loud. I really do. I often do. Some things are just completely funny for me. The show follows what Harlem is, for those who don't know, if you're unaware. The show follows 4 ambitious friends navigating the trials and triumphs of life in New York City, Harlem. And it explores themes of friendship, love, career. They all have their unique challenges that they face as young Black women. I find the characters to be fun, funny, complex, multidimensional, and each have their own distinct personalities and struggles. But my question is, are any of these women like any women you know? And we can unpack and chat about this, all right? Because this is another TV series on modern Black womanhood. I want to know if you're digging it. I want to know if this is something that we could really get into. I myself, I'm a woman I'm in my 50s. And the show is about young women who are in their 30s and they're trying to find their place in the world. It really does sound like something we've seen before. We've had so many television shows that has explored women and friendship, and they're going through relationship and all of the struggles that we typically go through in young life. And I don't necessarily think that it's just young life alone, but they're at an age where they're just really trying to figure some things out. I want to break the characters down a little bit for those of you who may not be aware of who the characters are. One of the main characters, as you guys who watch the show will know, is Megan Good. She plays the character Camille. All right, Camille is a stylish, intelligent professor at Columbia University who doesn't quite have it all together, like how she manages to put together an outfit. She's a loyal friend who struggles with balancing her career and her personal life. And it just seems like she's a bit all over the place when it comes to romance, and especially when she starts dealing with a situation with the return of her ex. So that's one of the characters. Then we have a character, Angie. She's played by Shaniqua Sandeya. And Angie is more of a carefree, adventurous musician type. She's determined to make it in the entertainment industry. This character brings let's say, a sex positive presence to the friend group. And she too has her own complexities, and she navigates the modern dating world and is having a tough time trying to make it as she struggled through what can be rough when you're trying to make it in the industry. So that's one of the characters. I don't know how many of you have a friend like that you can relate to. Then there's the other girlfriend, who is Quinn, and she's played by Grace Byers. Quinn is a fashion designer. She owns her own business, an entrepreneur. She's trying to make a name for herself in the fashion world. She also has some very complex mother issues, and her mother is played by Jasmine Guy. Quinn, she's struggling a bit in the dating world, and she has a very complex storyline where she's dealing with some battles of her sexuality and some issues there. You guys know any friends or have anyone in your friend group like that? And then we have Ty. Ty is played by Jerry Johnson. Okay, she's confident, ambitious. She's a woman who's achieved success in her career in tech. The character identifies as queer, and she comes across as tough and no nonsense, but she has a caring and sensitive side that she doesn't really show everyone. But overall, Ty is complex, and she's a dynamic character. She really brings like a depth, and a certain intrigue to the show, in my opinion. So those are four of the main characters there. And in a friendship, in most friendships, or even in life, I think that some of us, or many of us, has a friend who models one of these particular characters, or has some very close similar personality traits like one of these characters. I think many of us know a character like Camille, and if you don't personally identify with the character as a friend, you could very much be identifying yourself personally with that character in some ways, because you've got a young person who, she's in her 30s. All of them are, in fact. I think they went to college together, and that's where they built their friendship. But Camille's very stylish. She's a young professor. She's trying to establish herself and get tenure. So she's dealing with that. But she's dealing with that youngness and the recklessness of her personal life, which, like I said, is all over the place. But that's okay. I really think that that's okay. What do you guys think? So, Tori, even though you don't watch the show and you tried watching, give me an idea of something that didn't necessarily attract you and why you felt like you couldn't get into it. Put a little something in the chat about that, because I'm curious to find out. Like I said, TV shows are really for entertainment, and sometimes we have to allow television shows to be just that. I know that in our culture, I know that we find ourselves sensitive sometimes about shows that are about us and center us. And there's always going to be some positive impacts dealing with that. And then there's going to be some negative impacts dealing with that. I see, let's see what your comment is here, Tori. Keep the Faith with Tori says, I feel like the characters were all over the place. Well, yeah, they are. They are. And it makes me think about when you're in your 30s, a lot of the times you are all over the place. I mean, they don't have it all figured out. They're figuring it out. They're figuring life out. You know, what do you think about being in your 30s and not having it all figured out? Is that okay? So I feel like with them showing the characters being all over the place, that could be very true to life, right? It really could be. If you think about TV shows and especially TV shows about Black women and friendship, they often bring us to conversation about our representation, about sisterhood, and about the complexities of Black womanhood. Now, some of the positive impacts that shows like this could have could be the fact that they're providing representation. And we know that we need that in the industry, number one. And they also provide relatable storylines. Sometimes they showcase relatable storylines, at least for some of our experiences. Because let's be honest. Let's just be honest. No TV show will ever be able to capture all of us. And I'm asking, is it their responsibility? How can one show capture all of us? It wouldn't be able to do that. Keep the Faith with Tori says is true to real life. Absolutely. I think that is true to real life. The fact that, and I'll put up Tori's previous comment where she says she felt like the characters were all over the place, and I agree with that. They are all over the place. In your young life, I feel like as a young woman, you can be all over the place. And she says it's true to real life because many times during that age, we're just everywhere. We're trying to figure it out. We don't have it all together. That's the time when we should be trying to figure things out. We're just like failing our way through life. Not all the time, but sometimes. I tell you what, another positive impact of storylines like this and TV shows like this is that they can help to promote self-esteem and help promote confidence and a sense of belonging. Because there are young women out here who are watching that and they can relate to something and they won't feel so alone. They won't feel like, okay, so I'm not the only one out here just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, don't really have it together, but trying to have it together, looking like I might have it together, but I don't, but I'm trying. Right? And additionally, these shows can also inspire women to pursue their goals and aspirations while at the same time they can break down some of the stereotypes and promote a positive side of some things that are in our life because everything around them is not negative. It really isn't. Let's see. Keep the Faith with Tori said, no, it is not their responsibility. If I'm not interested, I just don't watch. You're right. You're absolutely right. We have that right to use that clicker. Find something else. Find something else that you like. Now, I want to ask this question. What do you think are some of the negative impacts of a show like this, a show like Harlem? Because there were shows, we've seen shows like Girlfriends, there was Sex and the City that wasn't specifically to the Black culture, but it was about women and friendship. So we've seen a lot of these particular shows, but what are some of the negative impacts you think these shows bring to screen? I hear you, Tori. You said, I will try to watch it again. Hey, listen, don't do it for me. If you didn't like it, you just didn't like it. Stay where you're at. It's okay. It's okay. Keep the Faith with Tori says, I loved Girlfriends and Sex and the City. Wow. You loved Sex? You watched Sex and the City? Now, see, Sex and the City, I couldn't get into. And believe it or not, I didn't watch very much of Girlfriends either. So I don't know so much if I would say that I didn't like them more so than just whenever those shows were popular, I was just in a different place in my life and I just wasn't watching them, you know? Now, some negative impacts of these type of TV shows like Harlem, what I think they can have on Black women in the culture is perpetrating harmful stereotypes or promoting unrealistic beauty standards, reinforcing limited or narrow representations of Black women and Black womanhood. You know, these can sometimes contribute to the marginalization and erasure of Black women and their experiences and our perspectives. But I always come back full circle to say it's a TV show. It is a TV show. If you don't like it, move on. Move on. The only way that I'm going to take a show very seriously is if it's a documentary and it's a true story. Keep the Faith with Tori says, and maybe that's why I can't do Harlem. I'm in a different headspace now. Absolutely. I get it. I get you. Because I watch it, and while it's a show about young women in their 30s, I'm not in my 30s, so in that respect, it's not something that I can necessarily say that is directly relatable to my life at this point, but I do find it funny. There's just some fun. It's a good comedy to me. It's a really good comedy. I like the storyline. I like what it's offering young people. Now, I can see a lot of those things that are going on in their life that happened when I was in that stage of my life. So I can relate to that. I can think back to like, yeah, you know, but also I wasn't particularly in my 30s when I experienced a lot of the things that they're going through. For me, and for a lot of friends that I know, in my 30s, I already had a 5-year-old daughter and I was pregnant with my son. I was married already. I was already married 6 years. So I was at a very different stage in my life. But I can still find the lifestyle of these women in their 30s, you know, very interesting. And I feel like a lot of young women now, and a lot of young women who are in that early 30s or approaching 30s, if they're living in cities and living their corporate lives or whatever it is that they're doing, that's pretty much how their lifestyle looks. I like that they explore, there's a character on there, Ty, who is queer. She identifies as queer. So I like some of the subject matter that they bring up for her, which is really, really awesome. So they offer a window of what that's like because you're looking at her be with her friends who are not gay. And then you're able to see people who have friendships and they have a friend who identifies as queer. Listen, I feel like this show opens up a lot for you to understand, and it's really an eye opener. I see K Rose says, as a young woman, I did like that we got to see women who many would deem successful, still battling with inequity, not knowing what they wanted to do, but still trying to figure it out. Absolutely. Yes. And Tori also gives some hand claps to K Rose. And I pretty much feel that way as well, because you don't have to have it all figured out. You really don't. Keep the Faith with Tori says that's a great point. Yes, so you can be successful, because if you look at the character like Camille's working at a university, which that's something that I feel like many people would find ideal and look at that as a level of success. And she's very good at her job. She's very professional. She is on it. Okay? She's fly. She's fashionable. Whenever she steps, I mean, she looks like she has it all together, right? But when it comes to relationships, she's just all over the place. And really a little bit in her job, she's still a little bit all over the place. She's still trying to figure out, okay, well, I am here. I would like to get tenure, but she's trying to figure out how she can get that done. You know? So she's still growing up. And at that age, you really are still growing up. I always say, and I tell my kids this, listen, do whatever you want to do. Don't worry about anything, because before you reach 35, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't. And I really don't feel that way. Even though I was already a mother and a wife, still, I know within myself, because I can look back now. I'm in my 50s now. This is over 20 years. I can look back and say, okay, well, yeah, I did make decisions to do that, but I didn't have it all figured out. I didn't know what I was doing. I was still flying by the seat of my pants, you know? And at the same time, I was a whole mother and a whole wife. Keep the Faith with Tori says, I only tried to watch it because I am a huge fan of Megan. Absolutely. She's been in the industry a very, very long time. One of the few child actors who has a career like how she has her career. It's amazing. And I think, as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, she's directing some of the shows. So it's going to be really great to see her do some transitioning into directing. She still very much has, a career as an actress, and we love seeing her on screen. But I like the fact that she's getting behind the camera there. So that kind of that says a lot too. So she's grown a lot in the industry. I like seeing her success. Yes, Keep the Faith with Tori says, yes, I remember her on Friday as a child. Yes, she was in so many movies as a young person. So we've got to give her props. We have to. Like I said, her character looks like she has it all together, and she doesn't. She's normal. Because even now, even at 50, I don't have it all together. There's things that I'm still learning. There's things that I'm still understanding. And that's why I really wanted to talk about this particular show, because more so than say that I really wanted to break down any particular episode or just talk about a show in details, I wasn't so much interested in that more than I was interested in the fact that just talking about the show in general, it brings up an opportunity for us to discuss some of the same topics that we're talking about right now. Keep the Faith with Tori says, loving the fact that some are directing now and doing things behind the scenes. Absolutely. Because we see how some people just, they're in there and then they're gone. We don't know what happened to them. And they get involved in so many different things and drugs and this, that, and the other. Their life just takes some horrible turns, and they make Hollywood look like they're ruining the people. But let's talk about another one of the characters. Let's talk about Angie. I love her. Angie is that carefree, that adventurous, musician who is determined to make it. She's got that I just got to make it spirit. She's living with one of her friends. She's living with Quinn. And she's just very, her sexuality, she wears it very forward, unapologetically. And I think we know friends like that too. Friends who are just living out loud and bravely with their sexuality. Everyone has a friend that they know like that. If you don't know that friend, then you might be that friend. And there's nothing wrong with that either. If you're being smart and you're being responsible. You gotta live your life. So if there's anyone who wants to make a comment on the complexities of the character Angie, I'm open to hear what you think about her. I really am. And then you've got Quinn. Quinn, she looks like she should have it together. We've got that friend like that too, maybe. But she's an entrepreneur. She's trying to make a name for herself. She has her business. She has money. But we know that doesn't mean you have it all together. She has some very serious and complex mother issues. And her mother is being played by Jasmine Guy, by the way, which is a really good character. And her mother's Jamaican. So Jasmine Guy plays her mother, who happens to be Jamaican. So she has Caribbean roots. And I think that brought a lot to it too, because a lot of times, especially when you're living in the larger cities in New York, you've got the Caribbean cultures there. So I was happy to see that they put that into the show. But Quinn is so complex. It's like she's trying to figure out a whole lot of things. She's trying to figure out if she likes men, if she likes women. Her dating issues and sexuality issues are really being questioned right now. And she's being taken into just like a whole turmoil of trying to figure herself out. Okay. K. Rose says, same, figuring it out as I go, and I'm okay with that. Absolutely. That is what young people are supposed to be doing. That is what living is for. You're supposed to be figuring it out. Living life, loving life. And that's why I feel like these shows, I think that they offer that to young people who haven't gotten an opportunity to be where some of us older women are. Like, we've been through some things and we've seen some things, and they can look at it through the lens of entertainment, but they can say, hey, you know what? There's nothing wrong with me. I don't have it all figured out. It is tough out here trying to navigate a modern dating world. It is tough out here trying to navigate an industry or my work-life balance. It's a struggle, but it's okay. And I will also say that the fact that they have a core friendship that they can share certain things with, they have certain confidants, they're really there for each other. You need people who are going to be honest with you. You don't need friends who are just going to pet your feelings all the time. Sometimes you need, we called it tough love, but I don't necessarily know that I want to say that it is tough love. I just want to say that it's just like some reality love. You know what I mean? Reality love. Be that friend who's going to say, hey, you're doing this, you're doing X, Y, Z. Why are you putting this pressure on yourself? It's not necessary. Don't do that. If this is something that you want to do, if there's things you want to explore, do that. But you need friends who are going to have your back. You need friends who are going to influence you. And that doesn't always mean influencing you to do something. Sometimes you need them to influence you not to do something. You dig where I'm coming from? And then that last character, well, not last character, but of the four main friendship characters is Ty, right? And I love her as a character as well. I love that she has a true sense of who she is in respect to her business life. She really is quite ambitious, and she really has achieved a lot for her young life. She identifies, as being queer, as we said that before. And she's in this friend group with these other girls that she grew up with. And she's there for them. She provides a point of view that I think we all need to see. Your friends aren't always going to be like you. They don't have to be. They don't have to be. Just because you're within a queer group doesn't mean that all of your friends have to be identified that way either. It doesn't. And to be honest, I kind of hesitate talking about it that a whole lot, because to me, within the friendship, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. I know that it doesn't matter for me. That's just not a subject that, is discussed in quite that way. It's like we're all friends. We all know who likes who. If we happen to know who's dating who, that's one thing. But everybody's out here living life. And life is out here lifing. It is. I see Keep the Faith with Tori said, yep, tell me the truth. Yeah. You need friends who are going to tell you the truth. You need friends who are going to have your back in a real serious way, who are paying attention to you. And in some of those episodes, and I don't know how far this will go, but if we get a core group of people who want to talk about it and get into some of those episodes, that would be one thing, because there's been things and topics in the show that I feel like people should talk about. I'm not going to bring them up today. I only wanted to allow us to know that there are TV shows that we can watch and we can talk about, and it can invoke a conversation. And if it does, I want us to be able to do that. We can do this because conversations matter. We don't have to allow it to be an episode spoiler. It doesn't have to be. But we can take something from the show and it can give us a topic to talk about, and we should. All right? I don't want to keep you guys too much today. I just wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to reclaim a little bit of our time. I wanted to make sure that we took that time to breathe, just like we did on the way in. And we're going to do that right now on the way out. Yeah. So thank you, Tori. Thank you, Kate Rose, for your input. This is something new. I got to thank everybody who has been joining me on the Noontime, My Time podcast. I've been having a good time here with you guys. A very, very good time. I'm learning so much. And much like the show Harlem, and even though I'm in my 50s, I'm still figuring things out. I don't have it all together. And I don't feel bad about not having it all together. This podcast was something that really scared me. It did. I've had people who have challenged me and who have told me that they thought I should have a podcast. And I didn't do it because I always like doing things that I'm sure that I'm good at. You guys ever do that? You only do the things that you're sure that you're good at. And I knew that this was something that I didn't have a great knowledge of, and I still don't. I am flying by the seat of my pants. And I'm learning a lot. So thank everybody who's taken this journey with me. I'm going to keep rocking. I'm going to keep learning. And I'm going to keep growing. All right? Time for us to breathe. We're going to take an inhale to the count of 4. We're going to hold that a few seconds. Then we're going to exhale to the count of 4 and hold that a few seconds. And we'll repeat that a few times. Inhale. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Hold that a few seconds. Inhale again. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Hold that a few seconds. Inhale again. Hold a few seconds. And exhale. Didn't that feel great? That felt great. I had a wonderful time with you guys. I always do. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let you guys rock out. Just feel this energy for a little bit. And then you go back and you power out and enjoy the rest of your day. One love, y'all.